Hello everyone. We'd like to welcome our new sponsor, Metallic Dice Games. They sent us a envelope full of dice to try out, and that we will be giving some of these away on a future show. And if you act now and you go through, you can get a 10% discount on all your dice orders by using the code SMSDICE10 when you check out, and you get 10% off. Let's see what we got here. We got Misfits dice. Boom. We've got these 60mm metal poly dice, rainbow. Boom, look at those. And let's see what else we have in here. Boom, boom. We have the handmade sharp resin dice. This really cool blue color. Boom. If you like dice and you like dice and you like playing role-playing games, then you need to get a hold of Metallic Dice Games. And you can find them on the internet. And like I said, use the code when checking out SMSDICE10. You get 10% off all your orders. And just tell them, Group Therapy TV, Sci Fridays, and Saturday Morning Cereal sent you. So you can get these cool ass dice. And I think I'm going to open this one. Boom. Boom, 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 boom. This is the mystery poly bag. You can get a bag of mystery metal dice. And yeah, look at that. Look at that. I can't really show it to you on film. Look at that. Look at that. Look at that. Look at that. Boom. All metal dice. That is awesome. So check out our sponsors, and you can watch our show next. Later. All right, welcome to today's episode of the Group Therapy Podcast. Today we have Mikey Sevier. Mikey, tell us about yourself. I have no idea.
It's just lame, man. I can't handle, Zoom. It's new technology. They're not updating enough. The pandemic, everybody started using it, and they weren't ready.
Oh,
they weren't ready for their close up.
No, I did all the Zooms, or I just started doing Zooms while I did the during the pandemic. So, all right, here we go. Welcome to today's episode of the Group Therapy Podcast. Today, we have Mikey Sevier. Tell us about yourself, Mikey.
Did you say my name right? I can't hear because it's going in and out.
Oh,
how did
yes,
you
I
say
did.
it?
Yes, I did. So said your name, Mikey Sevier?
It's Sevier.
Sevier. Oh, my bad. Sorry.
Yeah,
sorry.
No, it's okay. Nobody gets it right. It's an Anglicanization of French. So nobody knows it. It's like Sevier. They're like, what is your name? It's Sevier. Is it Sevier? I don't know. Is it Sevier? I was like, it's definitely not Sevier. Mike Sevier is the guy on the growing page. I'm Mikey Sevier. But whatever. Tell you about myself?
Yes.
That's weird.
Yes.
You want to know about me? This guy? That's stupid. Who am I? No one. Just your average horror host and mask maker and horror celebrity and greatest monster man of all time who's ever been, alive or dead. Thank goodness. At least, that's what my press material says anyway. If I had press material. I'm Mikey Sevier. How you doing, Paul Lee? Nice to meet you, right?
Yes. Finally get to meet you.
Now, finally. Oh, gosh. It's been like 500 years. I've been waiting for this. I know I have on Tinder hooks, whatever they say. Have you ever seen a Tinder hook before?
No.
You're going to. Hold on. Get ready for this one. Wait, I don't know what that means. It's stupid. But yeah, so no, I'm very happy to be here. It's nice to meet. Hey, Paulie. Does anybody call you Paulie like that, or they just call you Paul Lee?
Does Paul or my one buddy calls me the General, and
I knew the Admiral once. Did you know him?
the
Did you
Admiral.
guys work together? Did you work
No,
with the
I
Admiral?
didn't work with Admiral Lee. I've worked with UG. I've worked with Home. Uh, we used to have
Those guys.
yeah. My wife wanted to name our daughter Heaven if we ever had a daughter. I was like, not with my last name. I was like, she'd have two opportunities: porn star or stripper. I was like, we'd never have a daughter named Heavenly.
Those are really the only options. Yeah, that would be unfortunate.
And
But you know, we'd all know who she was in any event.
I said, yeah, my last name.
This way, you get to go to the conventions, and not her. There you go.
Oh yeah, I finally got to go to my first convention as a guest recently, and that was weird. So
yeah, did they invite you?
Yeah, got invited, and because I was doing interviews like this, and I got invited as the interviewer, and then as my cartoon host, and then I finally, because everybody had been asking, because it all started out as a joke. I was going to do a horror host, and I was like, man, there's really good horror hosts out there, and I don't want to be. And everybody's like, no, do it, and I was like, and I actually talked my wife into being one of my hosts with me, and we did a Halloween episode, and she loved it.
I love it. That's great. You guys had big fun.
Yeah. Oh, we had a blast. So and now I've got the doctor. It's the Dr. Edgar Shelley Lovecraft, PhD, not MD. And then I got Captain Cartoon.
Good name.
Yeah. And she's the witch.
Do you wear makeup for either?
No.
I hope you wear makeup at least for the horror guy. Come on.
I know I should. It's
Paul, you're really disappointing me here. we got enough horror hosts that don't wear makeup. All right, come on.
Yeah. I
put a wig. Do something.
I'm slowly evolving it because I wasn't sure where I was going to go with it. Because at one point he was going to be like the pipe smoking, with the tweed jacket and stuff like that, and then I didn't like that. And then I have
the pads on the elbows.
Yeah, the whole 9 yards. So now I have a whole thing going across all my different shows, and we talk about parallel universes. So each one of my characters is a character from another universe.
Oh, that's cool. It's you in a different universe.
Yeah. And actually, I got a friend who's coming in, and she's going to play a parallel universe version of me, but it's a girl. So she's going to be Captain Cartoon from another universe, and it's going to wear the hat, the robe, and the clutch T-shirt, and it's never going to be said through the entire episode why I'm not there. She's going to act like me through the entire episode. So,
oh, that's good.
Yeah.
And that takes a lot of pressure off of you then.
Yeah.
Because you don't to have a period or anything like that, or get ogled by the men.
I got hit on at the gym the other day.
Did it make you feel really buff?
You know what? I'm not gonna lie, it made me feel kind of good because when somebody hits on you at the gym, you just look around and go, me? There's buff guys over here. I'm not buff. Yeah, exactly. You're just like, what the hell? So,
are you one of those guys who pumps your Nautilus or whatever and goes, do you make funny noises or no?
I probably do, but I put my headphones in, so I try to avoid making noises. But no, I'm quiet.
I knew a guy once who was a conductor, and he used to run on the treadmills with his earbuds in, and he would literally conduct while he was running like this. Like, I guess, I don't know, people thought he was insane or whatever. He was a little bit. Conductors are weird.
Yeah. I get on the treadmill and I get on the elliptical. I'm an elliptical guy. So and then I
Now,
go.
what is that? That's like
Yeah,
non-shocking, like running in place or something.
it's got
It's
these.
not really
Yeah, and then you do the.
biking, but it's not really
Yeah,
running either.
it's because my knees are kind of buggered, so I tend to, if I
Yeah.
have to run on the treadmill, it'll kill my knees after a while. But if I get on the elliptical, it's a smooth motion, so I don't have the pain in my knees. So
Is that like spinning, or spinning is the elliptical without the ski
spinning
poles?
is the exercise bike. I thought I'm not 100% on that. So
Oh,
yeah,
oh, okay. It's just like going as fast as you can
yeah,
on
it's
the
going up, or
exercise
you
bike or
like
something.
you like get way up and you pedal real fast, and then you go like in it. I don't know. I've never been to a class. I just
I haven't been to the gym since 1935. You know, since they had like those medicine ball things that you had to go and you had to wear the, like the singlet with the
yeah.
stripes,
Oh my,
like Pugsley Adams is wrestling. That was my outfit. So I haven't done it since then. But
yeah, I know. I just go in my
I hear it's a really nice place. They have like those. They serve meatballs. What do they have, a commissary or anything like that?
no, it's
Communal
a plant.
showers.
It's a Planet Fitness. It does have showers, um, but
Okay, but no, no salad bar.
no, no.
To
it's
me, it's
the
like I would, if I'm gonna go to the gym, I want to get a bite to eat, have some juice, some meatballs, little meatballs made out of horse meat, like IKEA, and then you take them into the shower. Take your balls into the shower, pop a few, do your hair, a little
oh yeah.
shampoo, a little blow dry.
No,
Say
it's
hi to the restroom attendant. Do they have those? It's like a
no,
club.
no restroom attendant. No, they do have showers. They
What a
do have.
racket that is. You just pay your dues and then you hurt yourself.
I pay my dues. I go in, I
Basically,
work out, and I go home. Yeah, that's like people go.
you
I
go
saw you.
home and then you try to kill yourself with a brownie.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
Was that on this one, or was that the last one? I don't even remember. Were we talking about it on this version of the show or the other
No, we
universe?
were talking about it before. Yeah. By the way, before we recorded, I almost died by eating a brownie.
Which is a good way to go.
Yeah, yeah,
It's not bad.
yeah.
You
There's a
could do
lot worse ways
worse.
I could have went before.
One of those confetti cake cupcakes. That would be worse. Those things are. I can only handle so many colors in my icing.
It's
Gross. Did I talk about who I am yet?
a little
Doesn't
bit.
matter.
Yeah, your mask maker.
I'm a hard host, and I make masks too. I make monster masks. I have a company that makes monster masks, and I go on YouTube and on various social media, and I wear makeup,
Yeah,
and I do horror hosting things. And every now and then I host a movie, and that's nice. I do like Halloween specials, or what we call Goosey Night specials. Where I grew up as a kid, we called it Goosey Night. That was the night before Halloween. Some people call it Cabbage Night. That smells. Some people call it Hell Night. I rather like that one. Mischief Night. Some people call it Mischief Night. But I like to do Goosey Night specials because everybody has Halloween specials. Nobody has Goosey Night specials. You know what I mean?
oh yeah. See, I thought about
You put some.
changing mine to be the Samhain special, but we didn't. We were lazy. We just called it the Halloween special.
Right, that would be a good one.
Yeah.
Saw who?
Samhain.
Saw who? Nobody even knows how to say that word anymore.
Sam
I grew
Hain.
up my whole life thinking it was Sam Hain.
Yeah.
I was like, Sammy? Who? Sammy? You mean Sam? That guy over there? But now they're like, oh, it's Sal. How do you say it?
Samhain.
Samhain.
Samhain. It's
I
what
don't know.
Celtic. So
Isn't that like a dead language? Who still speaks Celtic? You got to go to Ireland to figure out how to say that word, right?
well, it's better than what
Those are my
Welsh.
people back in the day.
Yeah, it's like
If you
Welsh.
go back far enough, my people knew how to say that word. At least some of them, half of them. That half over there.
I watched the thing the
This
other
half
day.
was busy making meatballs or something.
They were talking about how far you could go back into the past and still understand what people were saying, and it's not that far back.
No, it's really not because like I didn't even know what my grandparents were saying half of the time. But I think that's just because I was weird. I was like, who? Who's Benny Goodman? Benny Goodman?
Oh my god.
Who's Duke Ellington? Well, he was the Duke of what?
Oh, I got lucky though. My grandpa was the one that took me to go see like monster movies downtown at the little theater. So I got lucky on that one.
Yeah.
And then
Did
I
you go
have
to
the
see old ones, or first run?
no, because every once in a while on Saturday afternoons they'd have the old ones. So they'd have old black and white ones. But I also
Sweet.
he took me to go see movies that were completely inappropriate for a little kid. I mean, he took me to go see Conan when I was like what 8. So
Yeah, I see. I think that's perfect. I saw Conan when I was 8, and it scared the crap out of me. It was
I love
great.
Conan. I still love Conan. I watch that movie.
Was the first Conan the one with James Earl Jones, or was that the
Yeah,
second one?
that's the first one with James Earl Jones. Yeah, that's Conan the
Yeah,
Barbarian,
that's
and
great.
Conan the Destroyer is the one with Wilt Chamberlain and Andre the Giant.
And Andre the Giant and Grace Jones.
Yes,
Oh
Grace
no,
Jones. Yes, yes,
is
yes.
that?
Yeah,
Yeah. Okay.
yeah.
Yeah,
Yep,
she's
yep,
in that
yep.
one too. That's with Dagon. Is that the one with Dagon?
Yeah,
I want to do a sculpture of him, only like better.
yeah. Because that
He's
that was
don't get me wrong. He looks great in the movie. Don't get me wrong. Yeah. Oh, that was Andre inside that costume,
yeah.
right?
Yep.
Yeah. Somebody told me that.
Yeah. Yeah, I think Andre's in it twice, I believe. He's both he's the at the end and I think he's in the middle somewhere. But he's in costume
Right.
both
He's the
times.
guy who's like, anybody want a peanut? No.
Yeah. I met Andre the Giant when I was like 12 years old and he was like he's like, hello little
He was up
man.
there. Hello, tiny person.
He
I'm
was like
not really bad guy.
you know how people go up there and like take little kids and do that to their head? They're like taking your
Yeah.
hand and putting it on like a toddler's head. He's like, no.
Right. You tiny little thing.
He's like, I'm
I
Andre
had a
the
friend.
Giant.
I had a friend who thought that Hulk Hogan's name was Hulk Hogan.
Hulk Hogan.
It should be like she's like, yeah, you remember like the and with the wrestling with Hulk Hogan. So Julie, I think it's Hulk Hogan. Oh.
Ah, that's funny though. That's a good way to yeah, I can see that. My wife's texting me. Um,
Better be
oh,
important.
no, it's literally like went to Kroger's, be home soon.
Cool.
She's
Pick
been
up
gone
some of
all,
those two by brownie things that I choked on. We're out.
she bought those yesterday. Yeah. She bought those at Sam's Club. Like I almost never eat them either. And it was one of them ones where, I'm kind of hungry. It was getting late in the day. We hadn't taken off yet because I don't close my shop till 8 on Saturdays. And this is I think like 5 o'clock in the afternoon. So it's like, I'll eat a brownie. And I ate a brownie and it almost killed me. So
You never eat them again.
no, I've eaten 2 of them because I will show those brownies. You don't screw with me because I will eat you.
I will. Do not start with me, pal. I will eat you.
Yes. What is it that which doesn't kill me only makes me stronger? So
Or something.
yeah. So it was like was
It
it
only turns your stool black. That which does not kill you only comes out the wrong end into the garbage pail. So what did you eat after you puked up your brownie? I just had some quinoa. I just made a
no,
little quinoa. It takes 5 minutes. It's healthy and it's so good.
no, I had something completely inappropriately unhealthy for me. Went to Cracker Barrel and got a chicken fried country fried steak and eggs.
Oh, that's good.
Oh yeah.
That's good actually. I like chicken fried.
Oh, man.
Chicken fried anything.
Yeah.
Have you ever tried chicken fried chicken?
The double fried chicken?
Or just chicken fried?
Yeah.
I don't know what double fried even means. It's like it's black when it comes out.
No, it's fried, then like battered and fried again. So it's like
See,
double.
that seems like a little bit much.
It's double crispy. It's like super crispy. So, but
For all those people who didn't think that fried chicken was crispy enough, honey, I still have all my teeth. I'd like to break a few teeth on this chicken. Can we make it crisp? Can we do that? Can we just do that? Well, when I moved to the South, I'm from New Jersey, but I live in North Carolina now. And the first time I went out to breakfast down here, I went to some place called, like, I don't know what it was, like the slave quarters, the mansion. I don't know, something inappropriate and awful. And I was like, oh Jesus, I'm in the South now. And I looked on the menu, and it was like biscuits and gravy and 2 eggs, any style, and country fried steak or chicken, and your choice of potatoes or toast or sausage or something like that. And I was like, all at the same time? Like, that was one thing that you could get on the menu. And I said, this has been going on in the South, because in the North they make you choose, you know what I mean? And then you order a juice and it's like this big, So I was like, oh God, well, this is like the one good thing apparently about moving to the South. You can kill yourself every morning if you want.
I got country fried steak, over easy eggs, biscuits and gravy, bacon, and fried apples. That was my dinner last night.
And then you got angina, and then you got a heart attack, and then you got your arteries hardened. I went to the Cracker Barrel, and I got my barrels cracked.
Oh my God. And it's the worst thing ever for you. And I was so hungry for biscuits and gravy last night. I was like, yeah, hey, and they give you a country fried steak with that. So I'll take all of that.
I'll take all that. I want to go to Cracker Barrel and just I want to sit in the little store area. I'm like, can I just sit on this rocking chair? I don't need to be seated over there, do I? Can I just hang out over here with all the goods, or in the front? Can you bring it to me out here in the rocking chair? I want to feel authentic. I don't need to hang out with those people. They spit.
Surprises me, because they got all that stuff out front. They got the rocking chairs. They have the big checkerboards and all that stuff. The fact that they don't bring food outside is surprising. So,
yeah, it's weird, right? They're lazy. I think they're lazy. I'm against them. They're a chain. And then they had ray guns in the store. I was like, oh, cool, ray gun. I don't know what that has to do with old country kind of thing, but it was cool.
Hey, I bought my wife a copy of Prince's Purple Rain on picture vinyl there. So
now, Prince loved a Cracker Barrel.
Prince was a big fan of Cracker Barrel. So I had to get a copy of Purple Rain on picture vinyl.
He's like, we're going to Cracker Barrel. Prince, my friend, Prince, Prince would kind of after a show, he'd play a show for 4 hours, and then he'd go to whatever random bar, and it was a secret, some random club or something like that, and play for another 4 hours until 4 or 5 in the morning or something like that. Well, one night he showed up at this bar that my friend just happened to be at, and my friend was in the back, in the good table, in the back in the corner where it's shadowy or whatever. Yeah. And they and all these people came, these I guess they were bodyguards, came and kind of moved him out of the seat, because it's relatively easy to move. So they just got him out there, and Prince kind of moved in, and somehow my friend kind of managed to get back to Prince, and sat down next to him, on the corner or whatever of the seat. I imagine it's one of those booths or something, those round U-shaped booths, and he's sitting there next to Prince, and he's like, oh, I like your shoes. Where did you buy them? And Prince said, I had them made. And then they moved my friend out of there again. That was it. That's my Prince story. That's the closest I ever got to Prince. At one point in my 20s, I realized I will never be as talented as Prince, and that was crushing. That was crushing. I was trying to hit the high notes from that dance, and I was like, I can't do it anymore. I could do it when I was 11. How come I can't sing this note anymore?
Yeah. He did the with the Bobby Brady where you're sitting there, no, 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 no.
My voice changed at 25. Started breaking.
I was sitting there talking.
And then I asked for pork chops and applesauce.
Pork chops and applesauce. I was talking to one of my buddies the other day, and all of a sudden my voice is cracked. I'm like, what am I, a 15-year-old boy? What the hell?
Yes. No, well, they didn't tell you about second puberty, huh?
And second puberty would suck. Oh,
happens right around your age, you know.
Yeah. I couldn't
Hormones.
imagine. Oh my god, I could. Yeah, well, now it's the anti-hormones because you're going through all this stuff where you start losing everything. You're losing the testosterone, and then the estrogen comes around and has to screw up you watching movies from now on. So
that's right. I cry at the end of everything anyway.
Well, me and my buddy were talking
about every year. Remember the Flintstones Fruity Pebbles commercial?
Yeah.
That one always makes me cry. Because Barney gives Fred the Fruity Pebbles.
Yeah.
Oh, no, Fred gives both.
Yep.
And Santa reminds Fred, he's like, 'tis the season to be sharing, Fred. And Fred's like, happy Christmas, pal. And Barney's like, oh, Fred. And I was just like, it's so nice. Screaming.
Yeah, it's funny. I was like, I remember when you'd be a hard ass and you could watch whatever you wanted to do and nothing. Now it's like I'm getting older. It's like, yep, I'm nothing to see here.
You're like, that is so sad. He's Jenny Agutter loves him so much, and he got shot. David is still a werewolf. I thought maybe he would recognize her for a second. And they shot him, and now he's dead. And now she's a nun. She's delivering babies, and she's a nun because her one true love, died as a werewolf.
Yeah. Oh
my god. It's sad.
It is sad. It's a really tragic movie, man. I got lucky. I got to interview him relatively recently, David Naughton. That was fun.
Was he awesome?
Yeah. He was a little like, I wouldn't say he was bad or nothing. I'm not going to say anything, but you know, he knows that he's a convention guy now. I don't want to be mean or nothing like that, but he knows he's a convention guy now. And we were sitting there making fun. I was like, you know, you were in American Werewolf 1 and stuff like that. He goes, yeah, because I never thought 40 years. He goes, in 40 years, I'll be at another con and I'll be almost 100. You'll be 100 years old, and I'll still be signing American Werewolf and stuff.
Dude, it's better than I'm a pepper, you're a pepper.
Yeah, oh my god.
I never even got my Dr. Pepper endorsement deal. Do you know what I mean? It's like, you're doing fine.
Yes.
And P.S. Making it is like probably the greatest disco song of all time, besides I Feel Real, I Feel Real, I Feel Real, I Feel Real.
One just repeats. Hey, I'm not gonna stay
making
alive.
It was like the epitome of disco because it wasn't even a real song. They're like, let's make a show and a song at the same time. It's like, you know, it's basically, you know, for the back of a cereal box or something. You can probably buy it on Sugar Smacks.
You get those little peel out 45
flexi disc. I mean,
that you cut out of the box. It's a 45, and you put it on your stereo back in the day.
Thank you. That's exactly what I was talking about. I did not have the words. Thank you for helping me.
Yeah.
It's making a cereal with David Naughton. It's delicious.
And
it's all about this a nice young Jewish boy from the Italian neighborhood who, kind of looks a little bit like John Travolta, maybe, if you squint. But he sure does love disco. And he can sing. And he's a werewolf. It's good.
Oh, yeah.
He likes Dr. Pepper. It's a good thing. I love David Naughton.
He was a fun interview, but like I said, he was a little, I wouldn't say standoffish, but you could see he wasn't real happy to be there, I guess.
Yeah. I mean, conventions can be kind of a drag, but
Yeah.
it's like drink your Red Bull, whatever, do your 5-minute energy and go. This is what you do now. Enjoy it. It's not Shakespeare. It's not John Landis.
Well,
it's not Pepper.
Nope.
You're not the Pepper. You're not a Pepper anymore, David.
It's what do they say when people stop?
That he's 79 years old. Can you believe that? He's 79. He's 137 years old, David Naughton.
He is actually a werewolf. And that's why
he probably just wanted to take a nap.
Yeah.
He's actually a werewolf. That's why he's still alive.
Yeah, that's why the special effects look so good.
He's a little gray at the temple.
Just the Coleman stuff. You just put that little gray at the temple. So, oh my!
Right, just a little toothbrush full. That's all you need. That's why Rick Baker won. He won the Oscar that year.
Yeah, because they had an actual werewolf on set. So
he was a real werewolf. I feel real. Oh no, making it. This time in love, I'm taking it. And it was in Meatballs. No more.
God, it was in Meatballs, wasn't it?
Oh, it was great in Meatballs too. What a great use of making it. Oh, those guys, the record company was like, we're gonna milk this making it single for all it's worth. It's the best thing on the Meatballs soundtrack. Well, almost the best thing.
Oh man. It's been so long since I've listened to the Meatball soundtrack. I couldn't tell you what was on that.
You're not listening to it every day?
No. I'm sure Kenny Loggins is probably on it because Kenny Loggins was on every soundtrack from like.
He was on everything.
Yeah, it's 1970, like 1990. You get a movie and Kenny Loggins is in that soundtrack somewhere.
Yeah, he got a lot of work from that.
Yep.
Messina was like, "See you later." And Kenny Loggins was like, I don't even care, man. I'm doing soundtracks. Right. I got Caddyshack lined up. I got what? Cocoon? Did he do Cocoon? Probably, right? Did he do Wraith? I bet he was on the Wraith soundtrack.
Yeah, Footloose and
Charlie Sheen.
Really
Footloose, of course. Hi. Now that it's just you and me, I want to talk to you about sex. If you're having sex, use a condom, okay? And if you're not, just don't do it. And tell your friends. And tell them I said so.
Sorry about that.
It's okay. I just had a little PSA while you were gone.
PSA. That I won't see until I watch this back again and do the editing.
It wasn't any good. It's an old joke I stole from Whoopi Goldberg from 1985.
Which one was it?
When she was funny. There was a time, people forget.
Hey, remember, she did a movie with a giant talking Tyrannosaurus Rex that was a cop.
What was it called? Teddy Rex?
Theodore Rex.
Theodore Rex.
Yep.
Yeah, so good. That was a good movie and made a lot of sense, right?
Yeah.
Made a lot of money. It was really big at the box office. It was like Batman, Theodore Rex for a little while.
Yep.
And then the Flintstones right under that.
They were competing for number one. Yeah.
They were neck and neck.
And then Tammy and the T-Rex
too.
And Tammy and the T-Rex came out with a young Denise Richards, where her boyfriend gets stuck in the the inside the giant animatronic dinosaur, or his spirit.
Was right. Was that like a Corman picture or no? Am I
No, that was
thinking of
Carnosaur.
Carnosaur?
Yeah, Tammy and the
Ah,
T-Rex was it actually, I want to say, had a budget too, but it was I know Shout Factory has it now, but and of course my phone's gonna run like crap. Um, but it bombed because they went from, it was supposed to be a like R-rated horror movie to basically they tried to
mm-hmm.
make it a almost a kids movie. Tammy and the
So it
1994 was PG-13 when it
had
came out.
no idea what.
Oh yeah, it had a young Paul Walker in it too.
So they hit it right in the middle, and the 13-year-olds loved it. They were like, "This is perfect. This is what I've been looking for."
I think I saw that when it came out on DVD because our VHS back then. It never came to the theater. Oh man, did I lose you?
Richard,
Oh, Denise Richards, the best.
it's like if something was direct to video, you knew that it was like just crap. And now 90% of everything that is made never goes to theater. 98%, forget it.
Yeah,
The only things that go to the theater are Disney movies. Just go ahead. Just talk. Just say something.
Yeah,
you'll be able to use this later. I'll just pretend that I can hear you. No, I can hear you now. You're okay.
Oh my God,
you're good.
This is horrible. I've never had Zoom do this to me. I take it back. I had Zoom just decided one day. It's like, oh yeah,
it's probably me.
It's you. No, it's the beards. The camera can't handle this much beard. Hey, if
it's
you
my magnetic personality.
There you go. Oh man,
messes with the radio waves or the Wi-Fi or something.
Oh man, see that cat right there?
It's probably those damn what?
Yeah, that cat right there. When I record my other show, it freaks out. So if I'm recording and I'm set up with my whole thing, that cat starts meowing the entire episode. As soon as I turn the camera and everything off, it stops.
Meow.
Now it's just a grumpy ass cat now.
Is it a Filmation thing? It's a Hanna-Barbera thing. The cat doesn't like.
I don't know, and it doesn't matter.
What was the show? You know the show that I loved?
Which one?
Go ahead.
No. The
what was the one with the teenagers in outer space riding like space motorcycles and the monkey, the winged monkey guy?
Yeah, that's space stars. It's a Space Ghost, and the Teen Force is the guys that ride around the motorcycles, and you have Space Ace and Astro. So Astro from the Jetsons gets a job as a cop. and
was it really Astro though?
Yeah, that's Astro from supposed to be Astro from the Jetsons.
Well, I knew it was the voice as a kid, but I don't think I knew that it was actually supposed to be Astro. Or maybe I did. There were so many of those shows that I watched, and I didn't even realize that I watched them. I don't know. I guess like I was watching some things about like the worst cartoons ever, and a lot of them came up, and I was like, I thought that show was great. I thought Dino Mutt was hilarious.
Oh my God. I got I collect. My whole thing is that I am a physical media guy. I love, because streaming, they take stuff away from you all the time, and if you own it, they can't take it away from you. And a lot of cartoons that I grew up on are lost now. They're Turbo Teen. Remember Turbo Teen, where the kid turns into the car?
Yes,
I have five episodes out of 13 that I found are I found 5 that are in English. I found 2 more. One's in German and one's in Spanish. Out of 13 episodes. And I'm like, that was a big cartoon, man, and it's pretty well known. Kids, I mean, people still know it, but yeah, it's kind of, they just didn't care about it.
I loved that show. I used to play that show after school, and I would do like try to do the animation with the hand. I'd be like turning into a car or whatever. I didn't even like cars. I don't know why. You just watched. I would watch whatever when you're a little kid.
Oh,
it didn't matter like how terrible it was.
Yep. I am that way. My wife gives me crap because at one point we didn't have cable. Because all we had was whatever we could get over the antenna. And I'd watch stuff like Friends and Seinfeld. And I don't like either one of those shows. And she's like, then why are you watching them? I was like, because there's nothing else on.
I can't stand them either.
Yeah. And she's like, then do something else.
Yeah,
I'm like,
that was unfortunate.
Yeah. Now I watch TV constantly. Everything's streaming, and I'm my own boss, so I go to work and I turn the TV on at work. So I watch 14 to 16 hours of TV a day.
Oh, that's terrible. I'm so sorry. TV is really the worst nowadays.
Yeah, but I don't watch hardly anything new.
You watch reruns of Taxi?
No, I watch my go-to show is legitimately MASH. I've watched MASH each episode probably 100 times. And
MASH is a great show.
Yeah. And then I watch old horror, like Twilight Zone. I watch that still a lot. What was I watching the other day? Yeah, I just go back and rewatch old shows that I haven't watched in a while, or whatever. I do watch some new stuff, but not a whole lot anymore. So,
that's nice that you can even find that stuff. I never know where that stuff is. The only stuff I ever see on TV is just garbage. It's all like Kardashians and morning shows, like morning news programs or like daytime news programs. You're like, how did you get to be a newscaster? You're like the stupidest person I've ever heard in my life.
There's some of them people
boring, and they have to pretend like it's interesting, and they say they listen to some boring spiel from some asshole that they're interviewing, and then they say amazing. And like, no, you're not fooling anybody. Just because you said that what they just said was amazing doesn't mean that it was actually amazing. I've heard an interviewer say, so Tammy, I hear that you made this new book about blah, 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 and you wanted to make a children's book because you didn't have any good. When I was excited, children have amazing. I said, that's not amazing. That's stupid. You're stupid. It makes me mad. I start yelling, like in the morning before I have my coffee. I'm like, what are you talking? Get out of here. Turn this off. Put on Mr. Boogedy. put on Unga Bunga. What was it? Put on Captain Caveman and the Teen Angels. I want to watch that. If I'm gonna watch something that requires zero brain activity, I'd put on that. That was a good show. I like that one.
And the Teen Angels.
What else was there? There was the Gary Coleman show where he was a dead kid.
Yep.
He was an angel, right?
Yep.
What else was really good? Legitimately, Spider-Man and His Amazing Friends was the most incredible show ever.
Yeah, dude.
When I was a kid.
Still, Spider-Man.
I was like, this is killing the Super Friends. It's so much better than the Super Friends.
Yep. And
they had Red Skull on, and I was like, that blew my mind when I was a little kid, that you could have like something that was kind of harkened back to real history,
Mm-hmm.
Dracula was on Spider-Man and His Amazing Friends. It showed their origin stories. Like they each had their own origin episode. I was like, what? You can do that on television? This is great. I thought it was so cool.
Yeah, I actually got seasons 2 and 3 on DVD, but the only way you can get them on DVD is to get them from like Europe. Because they never released them legally in the United States outside of VHS tapes.
Yep. I wonder why that is. Well, they never released anything legally.
Let's see. What do we got down here? Yep. Okay. I don't have it. See, you got these, which they've never released in the United States either. The Hulk cartoon from the 80s. That was it was the Spider-Man Incredible Hulk hour. There you go. And the Red Skull lives.
They had that during an hour with what? With Spider-Man and sometimes She-Hulk, right? Didn't they have a She-Hulk cartoon too?
No, they had a Hulk cartoon in the 90s, and She-Hulk was a reoccurring character on that one. Which actually,
that was after my time.
Yeah, see, that's actually a pretty good cartoon. It's not great, but it is actually a pretty good one because they actually use a lot of the Hulk's actual villains. So it's got, you know, Abomination, the Leader, MODOK, just a lot of the gamma radiated people are in there. They bring She-Hulk into it and all that stuff. So it actually ends up being pretty good. So
I love all the gamma radiated people. That's my favorite show.
Gamma radiated people.
Yeah. What do they call it? The League of Gamma Radiated People.
Oh yeah. They're all just giant, jacked and green.
What?
I said they're all giant, jacked and green.
Yes.
Yes.
I mean, I guess so. I don't know. I don't discriminate. Whatever they look like, it's all good. It's all good by me.
Oh man. I'm sitting here looking.
I went looking for Drac Pack a few years ago when I found out that was the thing. And I could only find one episode in Spanish.
I put Drac Pack on my show. I have probably 10 episodes of Drac Packs on my show, yeah. I actually have Drac Pack.
Now I know where to go now.
Yeah, I actually own Drac Pack on DVD. So Groovy Ghoulies is the one that
sorry, go ahead.
Groovy Ghoulies was another one that people would get mixed up with Drac Pack. One was Hanna-Barbera and the other one was Filmation, I believe.
Filmation was Drac Pack?
No, Filmation was Groovy Ghoulies, I think.
Really?
Yeah. Drac Pack was I want to say it's either Hanna-Barbera or Ruby Spears, which doesn't matter because those were all
Ruby's.
Yeah. End up being under the Hanna-Barbera.
Probably.
So.
I wonder if it was Ruby. I never saw Groovy Ghoulies. I would have loved Groovy Ghoulies, but my time was a little bit after the whole Groovy thing. And man, I didn't even know that Drac Pack was a thing. But years ago, I was teaching myself how to animate, and I was trying to develop a new show about, like, you know, based on like a Hanna-Barbera thing when that was still like a new idea, when it wasn't like, you know, totally trendy to pretend to be Hanna-Barbera. You know what I mean? That kind of thing. And I wanted to do a show about like a bunch of monsters like living together, and I called it the Creep Crew. And I guess it was kind of like Clue Club, but like Creep Crew. And then I found out Drac Pack, and I was like, oh my god, this has all been done before. Like, there's nothing original.
Nope.
Every time I think I'm doing something original, it turns out there's a million other people doing the exact same thing. I'm so boring, right?
Oh, because
I do it better though.
Yeah, there you go. I talked to Neil Gaiman, forever ago, when the Harry Potter books first popped up, and I was like, man,
he was like, "Where's Switch?"
Yeah, I was like, why have you never sued them? Because you created the character Tim Hunter for DC Comics, and he's like, well, he goes, there's not been any original story since Greek mythology. And I was like,
That's true.
yeah, that's pretty true. All comes down to the hero's journey.
He's basically got it right.
Yep.
Yeah. He's got it right. I didn't even know about Tim Hunter. I thought you were going to say The Worst Witch by, what's her name? I forget her name.
Yeah. No.
The Worst Witch is the one that Harry Potter ripped off really hard from.
Oh, yeah. Well, Tim Hunter was...
About the witches' school. Only J.K. Rowling made it all about boys and witches that celebrate Christmas for some reason.
Yep. Tim Hunter is Books of Magic from DC Comics. And he's probably the most powerful wizard in the DC universe, but he's a kid and he can either be good or evil. So all the good sorcerers and stuff in the DC universe basically teach him how to be a good magician. And, and he has an owl. He's a little kid with glasses, the whole 9 yards. He looks like Harry Potter. And it predates Harry Potter by a good decade.
That's very interesting. How come I haven't heard people talking about that?
Yeah. When you
I guess
they use the characters sparingly, I guess, because he's essentially in the Sandman universe now. So
okay.
Yeah. So every once in a while they'll release a Books of Magic book, and now he's not a little kid anymore. He's I think he's like in his, I don't know, maybe late teens now. At least book wise.
I wish I aged like comic book heroes did.
Oh my God. DC Comics decided, was it like a year ago, that they were going to explain why their characters are still like in their 30s, is because that universe's time runs slower. And I'm like, we don't need that. Each month.
I don't know.
I hate it when they try to explain stuff.
Sometimes
like
I think that the comics the comics industry gets a little bit too into their own canon, and they have to they keep fracturing off into universes and things like that. And yeah, I think it's a bit much. I think they take themselves maybe a little bit too seriously, and I don't know. I'm not really a comics guy. Maybe you need that, because you're so into the lore, and this happened, and then this happened in this comic, and then this leads to this in that comic or whatever. But at some points, I think it's just a little bit stifling, creatively wise. Is that a word? But you know what I mean, though.
Yeah, I know exactly.
It's like I don't need. I only learn. What do they call it? The new 52. And Crisis on Infinite Earths and all these things. And now they're bringing it into movies so that they can just make movies forever. But every movie has to relate to another movie that already happened. And it's like, I don't want to watch all that crap. That's too many movies for me to watch to understand what's going on in this movie. In Doctor Strange 9 or whatever. What did you think of the Doctor Strange movie? Did you like it? The Sam Raimi one?
I liked it. I enjoyed the hell out of it. But that's just, it
was fine. I don't remember what happened anymore in it. Who was in it? Oh, Wanda was in it. Wanda was like the bad guy, right?
Yeah.
Okay. And they'll bring her back. She'll be a good guy again next time.
Because there's the multiverse, so they can just bring a different Wanda in that's not a bad guy.
Okay. Fine. Yeah. No, nothing means anything. That's fine. Zero stakes. Even your high stakes doesn't mean anything. You can always come back. You die and then you come back. It's nice.
See, that's pretty standard in the comic.
You die in this way.
Everybody dies. Everybody.
That's true. That's true.
Can't stay dead.
I just think it's so funny that when they made such a big deal about Superman dying 30 years ago or 20 years ago.
30 years ago, almost exactly. Because they're having an anniversary coming up soon.
It took like a month for him to come back.
Oh, it took a full year.
And now he has a black suit.
Yep.
Cool.
Oh my God. I was
like, isn't that just General Zod? I always thought that was so. I was like, why don't they have a Zod comic? I'd be all about just Zod with a big Z emblem in silver on his black costume.
Well,
Terrence Stamp.
Oh You know, when it was Michael Shannon played Zod, I actually liked that one. Because I thought he
He's
played
fine.
a good.
He's a great actor.
Oh
but
yeah.
he didn't have the cool outfit though.
No.
And at no point in the movie did he say, "Blow them a kiss." Superman. I love her. Who's that lady? Wasn't she in V or she was
Sarah
in
Douglas?
V too, right?
Huh?
Ursa. The cruel.
Yes, Sarah Douglas. She's not it's not Diana from God dang it. No, it's not Diana from V.
Oh, I thought they were like the same person.
Nope.
They look like the same lady, don't they?
Yeah.
I always thought they were the same person when I was a kid. I was like, oh my God, is that her? And then I thought that what was the mute's name? The tall mute from Superman 2.
It's something stupid. It's like It's like, yeah, it's legitimately like,
yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
One syllable.
I
thought that he was a flautist who I saw on like Sesame Street or something when I was a kid. I saw this guy who looked just like him. I was like, who's the guy from Superman 2? They're like, no, that's a classical musician, Michael. It's not the guy from Superman 2. I'm like, I think it looks just like him.
Oh yeah. Well, there's several guys that around that time that looked like him that played like the villain, like the heavies in other movies, and I thought it was him. You know, shit. When I was
right, you mean the guy with the teeth, the iron teeth from one of those Bond movies? What was that guy's name?
Richard Kiel.
Yeah.
Well, I thought he
kind of looks like him if you put a beard on him and whatever.
Yeah, I thought Richard Kiel was Lurch when I was a little kid too. So
no.
See,
Ted Cassidy. I thought that Ted Cassidy was David Cassidy's dad when I was a little kid, but
you got
that would have been whoa. What a mashup! You were talking about the new Scooby-Doo movies. Partridge Family meets the Addams Family. That would have been great. You could have done like 3 seasons out of that. Think of the hilarity. Imagine like Bonaducci, Danny Bonaducci, and Wednesday Addams together. Forget it. Wednesday wouldn't let him get away with anything.
No. And the best thing is those new Scooby-Doo movies were, man, that was pretty like cool back then. I mean, they had the actual people come in and do voices. And, that's actually Sonny and Cher. That's actually
it's actually Batman and Robin.
Yeah, it's actually Batman and Robin. It's actually Adam West and Burt. No, it's Shaggy. So it's Casey Kasem doing the voice of Robin. But
did they get Adam West or did they get the guy who did Batman and Robin in the 70s?
I want to say it was
Super Friends and stuff like that.
Well, Super Friends had Adam West too. The Filmation stuff had somebody else. I have to look this up. But yeah, I mean, it had Don Knotts on it. It had freaking Jerry Reed from Smokey and the Bandit before
Phyllis Diller.
The Three Stooges. Of course, they didn't have the real Stooges.
Weird. Yeah. Did they have Larry Fine? He was still alive. I remember thinking that bat cookies were the coolest thing. We're like, well, I don't have any Scooby snacks, but I do have these
bat cookies.
Bat cookies.
I remember being a kid in the little.
I was like, I want the bat cookies. I was like, Mom, let's make bat have black icing back then, though. So they were just like blonde bat cookies. They're albino bat cookies, I guess.
Well, we had a local like grocery store that made bat cookies at Halloween time, so you could actually get bat cookies.
Cool. Nice. See, that would have been my dream when I was a little kid.
To have the bat cookies.
Did they make them year round, or only at Halloween.
I
couldn't
only
go
remember
there in
them at
like
Halloween
February and get bad cookies. Yeah. Be
Yeah,
like, can you just make me some bad? You could probably put it in order though. You could
I'm
order
sure
some
they
bad
did. They have
cookies
to
for
have
Valentine's Day, I bet.
like cookie cutters and stuff like that. So
Yeah, they got the cutters.
yeah,
So
they're
I
there.
know you
They
have the
exist.
cutters back there, Francine. They exist. Roll out the dough.
Yep. Oh my god. But yeah, god dang it. Seriously, I went too far back. Let's see. Batman in
She's scrolling.
yeah. It's like and holy crap, that just jumps. I don't know. Yeah, that
All right, let's do question time.
yeah, let's do question time. Okay. All right.
Do you have questions?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
All right. Being a horror host. When did you start being a horror host?
I love this. I started being a horror host, I don't know, maybe 2013, maybe. Officially, unofficially, was 1959 when they first asked me to do my own show on WSVR TV out of New Jersey. But more recently, I think I started performing as a cabaret act in New York City, like in 2011, I guess. I think it was 2011. I don't know. Stuff was foggy back then. Mm-hmm. And then that kind of morphed into doing horror hosting through my social media, just because I had a phone. I had one of those phone things that you could do like computer stuff on,
Yep.
And I was like, oh, well, let me see. Maybe I can do, something like that. Ah, look out! There's something behind you. Doc, what is it?
That's Vince.
It's a younger version of you.
And he is.
Hey, kid, lay off of those. Is he still there?
Yeah, he's way back here in the back. He's trying. What are you doing, bud?
Now. That's it. That's all we get. We get a 2-second cameo, and then he's out. He's like, oh yeah, I see. Oh yeah, Dad's on the internet again.
Yeah,
bye.
Yeah, he's like, I gotta go find my game. Now he's going to chill out on the couch.
I gotta go. These kids and their video games nowadays.
Well,
when I was a kid, we played checkers and we liked it.
Well, he's got autism, so he gets stuck on certain things, and he's right now he's stuck on these couple video games. So we just let it go.
I get stuck on the toilet when I get stuck on my video games. Then I'm like, oh God, I'm gonna have to sit. This is not good for me. I have to sit up. How many bubbles can you pop? And then there's the video game. It's like, I'm never gonna win this thing. Get out of here. What was I talking about? So so I used to perform, and I did the character on stage, and I would like sing songs that I made, and I would do like songs from Meatballs. I actually did a song called Moon Dust that was in Meatballs. But I had, instead of harmony singing, I had pitched werewolves howling behind me. So like it kind of sounds like they're singing backup, and then it goes off, and it's kind of like makes you sick, and you kind of go like that a little bit.
Yeah.
But like for a second, it sounds really pretty like that. So I would do that, and then go like these. I had a big cape. I still have it, like covered with sequins. It was my performance cape. And I would hang out in the back with they were burlesque artists.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess I was kind of like a burlesque artist myself, but I didn't do like a lot of tassel twirling. I did like more singing and stuff like that. And, people would think I was a magician because I had a cape on. And I was like, no, they're like, are you going to do some magic? And I was like, no, I don't have any actual talent. Well, a little bit, but like I'm nothing that I practice, every day, like when I'm not here, I just do my thing and stand there and try to be stupid. And the people loved it. They loved it. But then I was like, okay, so how do you do this on the internet? And I kept seeing people like posting about themselves on Facebook and stuff. And I was like, aren't you embarrassed to be talking about yourself on Facebook? Like, nobody cares what you think. You change your status or something, and people would be like, "Oh, like what's it? Liz Bunky is feeling tired," and it shows a picture of her, and she's like, she does not want Liz. I don't want to clean the closet out today, or whatever. And I'm like, who cares about you cleaning? It's like, oh, I had to wash my dog's butt today, or whatever. And you're like, oh, TMI, you know. So I made the character that I was doing on stage be like the social media presence of me, because he's not afraid. He wasn't embarrassed to talk about himself like what used to be a crazy show of egotism. You know what I mean? It's like, why would you take a picture of yourself and put it on the internet for all these people that you don't really know to see? You know, like, why? Who does that? What kind of bizarre psychology makes you want to put yourself out there for other people's, I don't know, what, amusement, I guess? Are you amused by that? You know, are people amused by what they're not really friends from high school are doing every day? So I was like, okay, so I'll make it. Okay, so the character is like kind of an egocentric ex-monster horror movie star who's washed up, and you know what he got, he's over, you know, he's not taking drugs anymore, you know, he got over that finally after like, you know, 60 years or whatever of that. He's not, maybe he's, you know, the old spook show, late night horror show failed, and now he's back and he's on social media, and he's bored, so that's why he's taking pictures of himself and putting them out there every day. Little did I know that everything eventually was normalized. And now normal people post pictures of themselves every day on the Instagram and the Facebook. Like, it's not just, you know, the weirdos who were like, look at me, look at me, look at me, look at me. Now literally everybody does it. You know, your grandma does it. So it's like my joke lost somewhere, and now I'm just another idiot doing it. Like, it's no longer commentary. It's, you know, it's no longer satire. It's just like me being obsessed with myself, and like the joke is dead.
Oh yeah,
not that bad.
No, but I always tell everybody this. I was like, you gotta be able to poke fun at yourself and make fun of everything, because you can't take shit too seriously. If not, you're gonna freaking have an ulcer. And I got enough crap that I don't take anything seriously anymore. So
that's right. I said, well, I certainly don't take myself seriously. I now I take everything too seriously, except for myself.
Well, you got to be able to poke fun at yourself, because if you don't, then if somebody does, you get kind of upset about it. And I'm like,
right, somebody's got to poke you.
Mm-hmm. Might as well be me poking fun at myself.
Right, I'm not gonna poke. This isn't gonna poke itself, or it is gonna poke itself. No, I'm going to poke myself. I'm not poking anybody else. Yeah. Who else am I gonna poke? Gotta poke myself. It's pandemic time, right?
Yes.
Everybody needs a poke.
Everybody
every now and then. Next question.
All right. So, did you have anybody that you looked up to when you became a horror host?
No.
Nope.
No, nobody at all. I've never even heard of horror hosting. I didn't even know it was a thing. I thought I invented it. No, that's not true. No, Elvira, of course. Elvira was my generation. She's the main person, the main deal. I think she's the best. She did it the best. She's done it the longest. She's definitely been the most successful with it. By the time I was really conscious and allowed to stay up late, we didn't have horror hosting in the New York area. It was like I guess there was Chiller Theater on WPIX before, and by the time I got there, it was done. You know, Zachary had long since retired, and they had nothing. So I thought it was completely dead when I started up. I didn't realize that there was still a lot of horror hosts, like in the Midwest and on the West Coast and stuff, because on the East Coast it was almost entirely dead.
Yeah.
At least in my local area, which was New York. Like you'd think in New York they would have a horror host, like it would make sense. But I don't know. They moved on to other stuff that was like you know, a bigger draw. We had horror movies and Abbott and Costello and Tarzan movies on the weekends, like in the afternoons, like on a Saturday afternoon. But night times, I don't think there was much going on at night. I guess there was like Chiller Theater, but I never saw it. And then by the time I was old enough to stay up late, it was like Freddy's Nightmares and stuff like that would be on Channel 9. And that was terrible. And I would watch that every now and then. And then you see like Elvira would be on, MTV, would do like those rockin' MTV parties. So you'd see her every now and then, or on beer commercials. And then her movie came out, and I was like, wow, she's like a genius. Like that, this is hilarious. I still think that her movie is one of the funniest movies of the 1980s. Up there with Pee Wee's Big Adventure and I don't know, whatever, Caddyshack or some shit like that.
I still watch that movie a couple times, or probably at least twice a year.
Yeah. I watch it over and over and over again.
Yeah. I finally recently started watching the newer one that she did. Well, newer one. The one
Haunted Hills, yeah.
Haunted Hills. And then they has had that on as I'm saying,
that's nostalgia now. It's been like 20 years since that one came out, right?
Yeah, and that doesn't even seem right. I'm sitting there looking at it, they're like, that's how old? That's not right.
Yeah, I remember being really disappointed by it when it came out, but now I look at clips from it and I'm like, oh, that's pretty good. It's not that bad. It's better than most stuff that they make nowadays,
Yeah, well, it's like finding out some of the backstory behind it and everything, and how it had been in production for, at that point, almost 10 years. And it was like, oh, okay. All the
she basically like had to self-produce it with her husband, right? Or something like that.
Yep. Yeah, because
not easy.
No, I couldn't imagine trying to front movie money, like, because she's like, we sold everything, we put everything into this. I'm like, I couldn't imagine just deciding to go, what, we're making a movie, I'm selling everything, we're putting everything into this movie. My wife would
we're
be
going
like,
to Bulgaria.
Yeah. My wife would be like, I don't know what you're doing. You can do it by yourself, because I'm not. Here's the divorce papers.
Yeah. Well, they eventually went that route, I guess. I wonder if Haunted Hills was the start of it. Who knows?
Well, let's see. That came out 20 years ago, and she's been with the same girl for 15. So 5-year window.
That's what it was.
Yeah,
that's what it was. That's what I need. I need a husband to produce a movie for me. That's what I need. Then I can divorce him for all his money.
Yeah, because if you get the right guy, just walk out with all that money.
Hey, it's just as easy to marry a rich man as a poor man. That's what they say. That's what the ladies told me in Long Island. When I visited that one time, I went roller skating.
Well, I could see technically, but in practice, no.
No.
No. All right. No. So I gotta ask you about the masks. How did you get into making masks?
I don't know. I thought it would be a good idea or something. I was stupid. I was like, you know what I need? I need an occupation that's the messiest thing you could possibly imagine. I wonder if there's an occupation where you take a huge lump of mud and then you cover it up with a bunch of powder mixed with water that turns into a rock. And then you pull all the mud out and you throw it everywhere. And then that mud turns into powder that gives you cancer. And then you pour a bunch of liquid rubber into that rock that you made. It's literally the messiest thing that I can think of.
I could see that. I could definitely see that.
Maybe those, like, some of those jobs with like the poo, like a poo farmer Remember
or
that show Bad Jobs or whatever, Messy Jobs. What was it called? Dirty Jobs.
Dirty Jobs. Yeah,
Dirty Jobs. Yeah, like that. I'm a poo farmer. I take poo and use it to grow new poo, and then we have to throw. And then this is the machine that comes around and throws the poo everywhere. Every day we have to till the poo
to make more poo.
To make more poo. And this is our poo machine. Whatever. His name's Ralph.
We have to
bring
aerate
him in, Oh my god! But no, it's seriously. I've always been interested in special effects and makeup and monsters and all that kind of thing. So I started learning how to do that when I was like 10 or whatever, because I rented the making of Michael Jackson's Thriller. I guess I decided that I wasn't afraid of it anymore. So I got over that, and then rented that and learned all about Rick Baker, and he showed how he did all that stuff, behind the scenes and that whole thing. So then I started learning that, and I got all the books that I could possibly read about it. Dick Smith's Do-It-Yourself Monster Makeup Handbook, and Tom Savini's Grand Illusions, and that. And I read all those things.
Dad, where's that room?
So I always knew how to do it.
Yeah.
And then a few years ago, like through this whole horror hosting thing, like a bunch of people that followed me were mask makers. So I would follow them back, and I'd be like, oh, that's so cool. I didn't realize that was like a job that you could do. You just make masks and be awesome at the same time, and people collect your masks. So I said, well, I don't know, maybe I'll try to do that. So I gave myself about a year. I came out with a bunch of masks, and like luckily the second one that I made was like a pretty good seller. And like I sold a whole bunch of them, and I was like, I don't want to do my job anymore. If I can sell like a bunch of these masks every month, then maybe I don't have to do my poo job.
No, I haven't seen your roller, bud.
I can quit the poo farm.
Quit the poo farm. What are my shoes? There's your shoes right there. Well, what's your favorite mask that you've done so far? Vince, what are you doing?
Frankula. I call him a Frankula. He's a Dracustein. He's like a half Frankenstein, half Dracula guy. He lives in the swamp behind Sevier Manor. But I actually have my own. I did one of myself, of course, because
yeah,
that just kind of goes with the territory. Why would I not do a Mikey Sevier mask? So maybe that's my favorite one. I don't know. I got a bunch. I have some back here, but not too many of them, because I tend to ship them out as soon as I make them. So
yeah,
I don't keep a hell of a lot for myself.
You don't keep one of each?
No, I really should though, but I don't. I have like like I said, everything is a mess, and everything is like I'll have master copies, but they're usually not painted, and they're not for display. They're just like in a closet somewhere, like tied up in plastic to try and keep them. And you fill them up with foam so that hopefully they don't disintegrate, and then you can use them to make more molds later. But I got like the garage is full of molds, and the closet is full of production molds and whatever. Normally, if I have a bigger shop one day, maybe I'll keep everything out like in the front area where the people come in and you do business and you see me, and I sit behind the desk, with the cigar, and I put my feet up and I say like, oh yes, I'm very interested in filling your order for 5,000 Mikey Sevier masks, Mr. Department Store chain owner. But first, what are you going to do for me? I want to see the money, right there. Let's talk cold hard cash first, Mr. Gimbals.
Then you gotta go show them your piece of Stonehenge that you have in your warehouse.
I have a piece of the Berlin Wall. It's got spray paint on it.
Now making these masks, have you ever got
Halloween 3 reference? Got it.
Yes.
I know those things. I'm a horror guy. I got it.
Have you ever got have you ever had somebody like complain about like, oh, I have the rights to that or anything like that on any of the masks you've done?
No, luckily not, because I'm still just a tiny blip out there, and I haven't really. Well, let me think. Have I really done any copyright infringement yet? No, but I'm planning on it. I have a one from Salem's Lot that I'm going to do soon that I haven't seen anybody do, from the 1979 version. So hopefully that will be coming out this year. And what else? Frankenstein. Frankenstein. As long as it doesn't look too much like Boris Karloff, it's no big deal. Or I hear that that Bela Lugosi's estate is quite litigious, so we'll see. I have a Bela Lugosi plan for the future, but mostly I just do my own takes on the characters because that's what I'm interested in. That weird area between like rip-off Frankensteins getting ripped off by somebody else until they go totally off model and they're the wrong color and they look like a version of Lon Chaney Jr. and Boris Karloff and Glenn Strange and Dracula played by who was the one in the 70s, like, and Jack Palance all at the same time, like mashed together with neon bolts or whatever, wearing makeup.
Well, you do like the Mexican knockoff, the Mexican bootleg knockoff.
Yeah. I
The,
do the Mexican hat dance knockoff.
we just had the discussion the other day because with Mexican knockoffs, I grew up with He-Man and stuff like that, and there's these Mexican bootleg knockoff He-Mans that make them, their faces are painted like luchadors. So they're painted like masks, but it's still obviously He-Man and obviously Skeletor. And I had them, and I had they come in a baggie with a little bit of cardboard stapled, and I guess you can still get them from Tijuana but I have no idea what happened to mine, and I need another one back because it's legitimate.
That is so cool.
Yeah,
I can't believe I've never heard of that before.
Yeah,
are they bare chested or do they? I guess they're bare chested and they have
they're bare
masks
chested
painted on.
Yeah,
and then they have masks. And is their hair blonde or is it black?
They're all
do they
hand
paint
painted.
the hair? Okay,
wait a minute. Let's see. That's similar to the Skeletor I had, except for he's painted like the red eyes and it's yeah. But He-Man was legitimately like the blonde hair, and then he had like a almost like a sugar skull painted on his face too. So
neat.
Yes, but every one of them look different. I've seen several different ones, and none of them look the same. So they all have to be hand painted.
Yeah, they had like 3 or 4 ladies just doing that.
Yeah, probably
in the back of the factory,
making $2 a day in Tijuana.
It beats cutting the heads off of chickens.
Yeah.
Have you ever tried to cut the head off a chicken?
Yes. I worked on a farm.
There you go.
Yes. You have this is going to get bad, but you have the tree stump and you have the 2 nails that go in the tree stump. You stick the chicken's head in there and you pull, and we'll end it there.
It like turns into Willy Wonka in the chocolate factory.
Yeah. Pure nightmare fuel. So how is the mask business doing the rest of the year when you're not having Halloween time there?
Surprisingly good. I think probably summer is the best time. Deadest is the beginning of the year, like right after Christmas to about March or so. Those 2 months, it's like almost dead. So I have to come up with other things to do. I do a lot of paints, and I refurbish classic monster masks for people. People give me their like vintage masks and things, and I kind of fix them up and repaint them or give them a new style, do that kind of thing. But in the summertime, like mask people go crazy because I think they all know that like we get really really down in the woods, before Halloween. So they start ordering in the summertime, and plus they just get antsy for Halloween. Like they can't stand to be without their masks or whatever. And then
What's your biggest seller?
My biggest seller, I don't know. It's hard to say now. For a while, it was that second mask that I ever did, which was a green skull, a bright green skull with red eyes, kind of like the Bisol die cut Halloween decoration that you see everywhere. That was a really big one. I've sold hundreds of those. I have a Santa Claus mask, which is a big seller that I actually sold to. I sold the design to Ghoulish Productions, which is a cool mask company, one of the bigger ones, one of the high quality. They're a really great company that's run out of Mexico. I think they actually use the same facilities as Trick or Treat Studios uses, or one like right next to it, like in the same town or something like that, whatever. But they have all the factories down there and everything, and they make like a less expensive version of my mask, which is pretty good. But yeah, I sell a ton of those Santa masks, and I offer him like in a clean, like pretty nice Santa version, and then a bloody like horror slasher movie Santa version, and he's all like dirty. He's dirty and covered with soot and blood. It looks like, and it's all like blood, like from hacking, not like he's bleeding, but like he's just chopping
somebody. And not
yeah.
Yep.
So the kids love that one, like the Slipknot kids and those things, like that mask a lot. And then like ladies will buy like the pretty one, the pretty nice Santa Claus, and just decorate their house with like a literal life-size Santa head, and he's just like, hi, he's just looking all cute like that, like, I'm Santa, I see you when you're sleeping. And I guess they don't get creeped out, so good for them. What else is a good seller? Mikey Sevier sells okay. Sweet Chuck sells great. He's the Frankula. He's wait, here, where do I have him? Where'd he go? Oh, here he is. Please hold. This is my paint master for Sweet Chuck.
Nice.
So the paint that I do now is a little bit different, but this is the first one that I ever did. He has less hair now, and he's lighter. He's like a paler blue, and his makeup is more vivid, and he has like veins all over his cheeks. His ears are more red. But he's a good seller. And what else? I did, speaking of knockoff bootleg action figures, I did a mask based on a bootleg character by, do you know this guy, Killer Bootlegs? He does, he was like one of the first guys to invent the whole bootleg toy making thing that happened like around 2008, 2009. And he made this character called Phantom Star Killer. Which is basically, okay, so there you go.
Yeah, I have the comics.
Yeah, me too.
For that. Yeah.
So he's a friend of mine, and he commissioned me to make the Phantom Star Killer mask. So I came out with that last year, and I wish I had one here to show you, because it's a really cool looking mask.
I've seen it. It is awesome. Yeah.
The hood. Oh, you saw it?
Yeah, I've seen it on your Facebook page. Yeah, that is. Yeah.
And it was a little bit of an innovative thing, because it has, instead of having like sculpted eyes or eyes that you look out through, it has light bulbs, but they're rather deep set within the eye sockets. Mm-hmm. So they're like false eye sockets that you can't see through. Mm-hmm. And the light bulbs are deep inside, so that it gives the illusion when the mask turns or when you walk around the room, it looks like the light bulbs, which are like his glowing pupils, are following you.
So
no matter where you go. So it's like a little bit of an illusion like that.
I got to ask, because I saw it, how does that set on your face to be able to even see out of that?
It sits, well, the holes are right above the eyelids. So they're kind of within the skull sockets proper, but he also has little eyelids inside, because when you're a cartoon skull, you could do stuff like that. So that's in between his eyelid, which is right there, and the skull bone. There's like little cracks like that.
Okay. Because
Now, I'm not saying that it's going to be totally easy to see out when you have a glowing light bulb beneath your eye and the back of the socket kind of rests on your cheeks right there like that.
Okay. Because I'm
But
sitting
you
there
can
looking
do
at
it.
that.
But, Halloween is all about pain and discomfort and danger. So
I just took him trick-or-treating last
Yeah.
week. I dressed up as Spider-Man. So I have the full costume on, and the mask that you get has maybe eye holes like this. Then you have the pieces that go over that, so you can't hardly see. So I'm literally walking with my hand most of the time on my wife, so I know where to go. And she would tell me, she's like, sidewalk. I'm like, all right. So I start walking funny because I worry about the offset sidewalk. Then I have a full set of stormtrooper armor, and that range of vision is maybe this. So I took him trick-or-treating a couple years ago dressed as a stormtrooper, having to do the same thing. So
it's like you were blind. You're blinder man.
oh man,
Man. It's like you want to be all cool and like strike the poses and everything, but you're afraid you're gonna fall down.
Little kids kept coming up to me and wanting to like shake my hand, and I'm like trying to look like
right. I can't see you. Get out of here. You just knock them over. Well, you're walking into them.
Now my wife's going to fix the eye so I can open up the eye sockets, because those pieces will cover everything. So
yeah, those masks are cool now, though.
Oh yeah.
I don't even know, they didn't even have good Spider-Man costumes when we were kids. Like you had to get the Ben Cooper and like, but the plastic smock didn't actually look like Spider-Man. It was like yellow and blue or some shit.
Yeah, or it just had Spider-Man's head on the centerpiece. Yeah.
I did that as a costume years ago before it became like a cool thing. I was just a ghoul, and I had ghoul written here. I made the whole costume. It was more like a 50s. It was more like a 1950s style, like Ben Cooper Collegeville costume. And I didn't have a vacuum form or anything, so I had to like make the mask out of paper mache or whatever. And I was just ghoul, and I had a picture of my own face I painted on here. And then my friend who's a girl was Miss Ghoul, because like in the 1950s, like no girl costumes had their own identity. It was just like, you're just like the female version of that, okay? And you're married to him. You're Mrs. Ghoul. There you go. Congratulations. You're glad that you got married and you're not a spinster. You're lucky.
It was either that or it was she monster or she demon or
she demon. Right. That was a Hammer movie, right? She demon. Cool. She freak.
Yeah, she freak.
It's always you have to leave half the face pretty just so that everybody knows.
Yeah, she was beautiful once.
She was beautiful.
But like I said, that Phantom Star Killer mask I thought was badass, but I'm sitting there legitimately like looking at that picture when you posted it, like how the hell do you even wear that? But
it is wearable.
Yeah,
it is wearable. Like you can do it, and if you painted the back of, I've done this for people. I'll like paint the inside of the mask black right there, so that the light doesn't shine back through into the mask as much. So it's totally doable, but like, first and foremost, my masks are display pieces, because, most people don't want to buy like a really expensive mask and then ruin it by putting their faces in it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Guys who are in the hobby, like they want to get it, and then display it for years to come and not mess it up with like their sweat and their breath and all that crap. But just because they are masks, I like to make them all wearable. So I do that, for the most part. Although I'm getting into like doing more display pieces now, things that are purely display that aren't necessarily they're like sculptures,
Yeah.
Like collectible sculptures instead of like a collectible mask.
Yeah, those, like I said, your masks are amazing. I mean, with what I've seen, I haven't seen any in person. One day
they look just like that. What you see is what you get.
Yeah, and they're super cool looking. They're very vibrant. I mean, I can see behind you because you do the you got the Gill Man behind you.
This is my
And
buddy. This is my buddy Mike Guidon's Gillman, creature from the Black Lagoon sculpture that I painted up as a rubber ducky.
yeah, you've got these really bright, vibrant colors on some of these, and it just looks so like 1950s in the early 60s stuff. Yeah.
That's the stuff that I'm really into. I was really excited. That's one of the things that got me into it too, is like I was kind of obsessing over these masks this period of time before I was performing with the character and doing all that kind of stuff. I was writing a screenplay, and one of the aspects about this screenplay was all about these masks from the 1960s, where they were really bright, the Ben Cooper psychedelic color neon stuff with the costumes, with the
Oh yeah.
faces on the chest and everything. That kind of figured into the story of the screenplay a little bit. And then I saw that there were guys who were doing that within the mask making community, who were kind of bringing that back, that old school style. They were bringing it back in the 2000s, like around 2007, 2008. And I was like, whoa, you're like, this is awesome. Like, finally, like something, because when I was a kid, I thought that, I thought that stuff was fakakta. I didn't want that. I want stuff that looked real, and that stuff, not stuff that was symbolic, but like, now I realize that all of that stuff was just early pop art.
Yeah.
It really was like some of the coolest art of the 1960s,
Oh
but
yeah.
it was just heaped in with illustration and toys, and like that stuff wasn't thought of in the same way that it is today. Slowly people are coming to around to the idea that this was some of the greatest art of that time, I think.
Well, they reissued a lot of the Ben Cooper costumes as wall hangers recently.
Yeah.
I had what was it, Phantom Astronaut and the glow in the dark Phantom Astronaut. I mean, they're twice the size they would normally be, but they were neat. And
So cool, right?
Oh yeah. See, I hate to say this. I wish somebody, because I mean, to make the like really high end versions of those masks would be awesome. So like a glow in the dark Phantom Astronaut, but with the rubber that you pulled all the way over your head instead of just
yeah.
I
love that. Well, I have this guy. He's a little bit. He kind of has the same face. He's like one of my third masks. He's a good seller too.
Yeah, that's my like the Ben Cooper Frankenstein. Yeah.
Yeah, that's like I think that's my paint master, actually. That's probably the first one that I did. I do them much better now. But yeah, he's kind of like the Phantom Astronaut, but the astronaut has the helmet, right?
Yeah.
How cool would that be? With like, it comes with the mask and like a fiberglass helmet or something like that.
Oh, that would be sweet.
Yeah, like light bulbs in the eyes or whatever.
Or what would be really cool is it would be impossible to do, but put the Tesla coil so it goes.
Oh, you could do it. I don't know if you'd want to wear it, but you could do it. Yeah.
Are there any ones that you want to do? Any creatures that you'd really love to touch on and make masks of?
I mean, yeah. There's so many. I have a book of ideas because because I'll think of something and then like almost immediately forget, but I have to like I have to write it down, because like, and I'll try to like because it's not really fair. It's like I'll be walking around and all of a sudden the image of a mask will come to me. It'll just like that kind of like I'll get hit like a lightning bolt. So I have to run over and write it all down, and kind of write it down in a way that makes me remember like what was so cool about my idea, or the innovation, like something about it, the fact that he's, the lips are glossy, or the eyes look like this, or he's wearing makeup, or like any one of those, all of those kinds of things. So what do I want to do? I really want to do like the classic movie monsters wearing like each other's makeup in outer space. I want to do like I want to do like really old Bela Lugosi as, you know, the Wolfman or something, but like with a motorcycle cap on with a leather jacket. I don't know, like, you know, just like weird
Yeah.
things like that like come to me all the time. And I'm like, oh, that would be like a really cool twist on something to make it look cool. Like if it was, you know, Boris Karloff, but he's, you know, he's a vampire in outer space. You know, like
Oh
that
yeah.
kind of stuff. I love that. I love all that stuff. Um, and yeah, there's masks that I see all the time that I want to bring back or whatever. But I'm getting away a little bit from redoing the classic monster masks and trying to like bring my own weird, perverted, you know, crossed mishmash ideas into the whatever, the cultural zeitgeist, and like pumping them out onto the internet or whatever, hoping that like the kids who see them now on Facebook or whatever, who see them or in Google searches or whatever, like eventually that's going to become a nostalgic thing for them where they're going to want that item, you know, 5 years from now or 10 years or whatever, as soon as they have money, you
Yeah.
know, or their parents let them buy it, you know what I mean? Like the whole thing is that these are like, their masks are things that you want that you can't have. Like you want all of them. People who collect masks want all of the masks.
Yep.
Do you know what I mean? It's always masks that they saw somewhere when they were a kid that they want to acquire. Nobody really cares about new masks anymore. So you have to like kind of you know, infiltrate into that hard wiring or whatever of their brain and become iconic. You know, that's what everybody's trying to do, is like sculpt a new icon that's going to be like the king of Halloween one day.
Yeah. Now, have you ever had anybody approach you about making a mask for like a horror movie or anything like that?
I have. I'm actually talking to one guy about it now, who's putting the finishing touches on, like doing the promotion for one of his movies now, and he wants to have me do like several. So I don't know. We haven't gotten into it, but hopefully, I respect his work and I like the look of his stuff. He really understands like that old school look that I'm into, and it reflects in the way that they make their movies and how they look. You know, using like technology that just looks like filmic and old and kind of like 80s 70s, but not like not overboard, you know, not where it looks like that kind of pastiche, you know,
Yeah.
trying to look old. Like it just looks good, do you know
Yeah.
what I mean? It just doesn't look like digital, you know, shot on video crap or whatever. Like it has like a cool filmic look to it. So yeah, I'm looking forward to that. And yeah, I've had people ask me to do, you know, lots of things, and then it's like for every, you know, 9 that I talk about, like one of them actually happens. You know, that's the way that the business works, and
Oh
that's
yeah.
the way that every business works. Is like people are always like, I think I want to do this project, and then the project falls apart eventually. So,
Yeah.
you know, I talk to everybody, I take it in, and I say, great, get back to me when the money's there, and you know, that's it. That's what happens. So
Oh yeah.
every now and then, yeah, I get to do something like that, and it's cool.
Yeah. Um, it's funny because you were talking about getting the money. I was getting ready to shoot my first movie. I had cast, I had scouted locations, I had worked on, you know, a budget, and then the pandemic hit. We shut everything down, and I'm like, I don't even know if I'll ever get back to it, and it sucks because it's something I want to do, but I think I'm going to move on to something else and do it like what I'm doing with all my other shows with YouTube, and just do it episodically and do it in short, so I can do like a 15 minute, so I don't have to have people there on the set for, you know, days on end. I can just go, all right, we'll shoot this on a weekend and we'll edit it and we'll have it on come Monday.
I think a lot of people are coming to that conclusion nowadays, that it's better to just be self-reliant and to do it in a scaled back way sometimes than, you know, try and mount a huge production or whatever. Like I mean, like even I'm friends with some guys who make actual, you know, movie monsters and stuff and have been at it for years, and they're kind of like what's the point of this? Like, I'm talking to people who are like my idols, who've been doing it for 30 years, and they're like, Mikey, we like what you do. Like, you can do your own thing. Like, you're just like, you don't have to listen to some, five producers and a director who don't know anything about, what's cool or what's good, and they, make you do it 500 times, and then they don't even use the design in the end. Like, I want to just do what you do and sell it and be cool.
Well, a few weeks ago, I was at a horror movie expo over in Virginia, and I'm set up across from David Naughton, and then the guys from the guys that worked on Hellraiser. So it's
The new one.
No, it's Gary Tunnicliffe, who worked on Hellraiser 3 through 10.
Yeah, he's awesome.
He's worked on everything. And then Mike Regan, who's Chatterer from in a bunch of the Hellraiser movies and stuff like that, and he's also a special effects guy. And it's funny because these guys, yeah, they make their their day-to-day job is making horror movies and stuff like that. But he goes, I just sculpt. Mike makes the puzzle boxes, in his free time. He also does these little cool like hand monsters. It's got legs, but it's a hand, and he makes those and paints them, how people want them. I'm like, the fact that you guys do all these movie stuff, and then he's like, yeah, that's where I have fun.
Yeah.
That's my job.
It's true.
Yeah. And Gary was a blast. Holy crap. That guy, he doesn't care about anything anymore.
He's like a fireball, right?
Oh yeah. And he's semi-retired, so he doesn't care if he burns bridges. And he's sitting there telling me, he goes, I've been telling people that Amber Heard was a bitch for years and no one would pay attention to me. He goes, now everybody listens. I've been telling everybody that, that Johnny Depp's a good guy, and everybody got all pissy with me. So but yeah, he was talking to them guys. I'm like, man, you guys have like the best like houses at Halloween, right? And Mike's like, yeah, I used to. And now it's just like, eh.
So. Every day, that's what happens when every day is Halloween for you,
Yeah. So I was going to ask you the same thing. Do you guys go all out on Halloween, or are you just like, it's a Tuesday?
I don't want to see anybody. I turned my porch light off. I'm terrible. Terrible. It's like I guess I could like take all my masks and put them out on the front porch, but I'm like, then I would have to open the door. I'm really awful about Halloween. One of these years I'll do it up and I'll be ready to go. But it's just like, yeah, it's Tuesday. It's Monday this year. What a weird, what a lame day to have Halloween on. I make up my sister's kids if they let me. The older girl is like too cool now. She won't even let me do the eyeliner or whatever. She just wants to look pretty on Halloween. Lame. I'm like, you're lame. You kids are lame.
Do they ever come over to the house and like try to snag masks to wear?
Yeah, sure. They put them on every now and then. Yeah. It's fun. We do photo shoots and stuff like that.
That's awesome.
But kids love masks. I went camping the beginning of October with some of my friends and their kids, and I brought a bag full of masks for everybody to try on in the woods because everybody deserves masks.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I hated it because I went through and found some of my old masks from when I was a kid, and they were the full head. You pull them over, your face fit inside, and now you get the ones that you put on, and then there's nothing in the back. They're I don't know. It's they're not nowhere as cool as they used to be.
You need to buy more expensive masks. That's the deal.
Well, the we got Walmart and stuff like that. We got a Spirit store that's not far from here, but even them, you're just like, I seen one I really wanted, but it was a little more than I wanted to spend on a mask right now. I found a really cool Skeletor mask that looked exactly like the action figure.
Nice.
And I'm sitting there and I'm staring at it and I'm like,
how much was it?
I think it was for 500.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah, it's like
That's an
400.
expensive mask.
Yeah.
That's something that you probably don't want to put on and wear on Halloween.
See, that'd be the problem is I'd want to wear it. I'd want to put
Right.
that shit on.
I get it. I get it. You'd have to buy two.
Yeah. And I don't want to spend $1,000.
You'd have to buy two.
Yeah. I mean, I spent $400 on a
Yeah.
set of Stormtrooper armor because I got lucky. And it sets in a tote most of the time. Except for the helmets.
Well, it's not terribly comfortable to wear it to Kroger's, right?
It's not terribly comfortable to wear anywhere.
Yeah.
If you ever watch Star Wars, you never see a Stormtrooper running because you cannot run in a Stormtrooper costume. You can't sit in a costume. You can't lay down. You cannot do anything in a Stormtrooper costume.
Nope.
So, oh yeah. But
she's like, just finished shopping. What did she say?
No,
just
she's like,
finally finished.
But no, I have my Sith robes. So I have robes from Star Wars. Those are great. There's just, I pull the hood up, I pull the hood down, I can see, I can move, I can sit down.
So you wear your Sith robes with the 3/4 mask that doesn't come down all the way in the back.
See, I thought about doing the Sith robes, and that's why I was going to get that Skeletor mask. So I could put the Skeletor mask on, and then I could be Darth Skeletor.
Right, that'd be awesome. Could be Phantom Star Skeletor.
Yes. And but I did not want to spend $500 on a mask.
Yeah, I can't say that I do that too often either.
Yeah, it's
But I'll sell you a $500 mask though anytime.
Sure you would. I'm bad because everybody's like, I got all these helmets back here from all the Star Wars and Marvel stuff and whatnot, and everybody's like, well, aren't those expensive? I'm like, yeah, but I get them wholesale, so they're not quite as expensive.
I feel I have the illusion that I'm actually not spending as much money as I could be, so it's on sale.
I spend 60% about on all that shit. So instead of $100, I spend $60.
Right? It's a good deal.
Yeah. Then everybody's kids come over and want to put my masks on and helmets. So.
Do you let them? Do you let them dress up?
No.
No.
Nope.
These are daddy's toys. No.
That's there are certain things that the little kids, I was like, I'll let them play in the arcade back there. I have an arcade. I was like, you can come in here, play the arcade. And that's as far as I want you to come into this area.
Right.
I have all my old toys. I have Shogun Warriors. Remember Shogun Warriors?
Yeah, sure.
I have them over there and over there. And I was like, yeah, no kids are allowed to touch those. And they're like, why? Because they're more expensive than your parents would ever want to spend to replace that if it's broken.
That's so cool. My friend's kid found one in the garbage somewhere a few years ago.
That would be insane. Because those are even beat up are $200.
Yeah.
So shit. Found one in the trash. I think I found one in the trash when I was a little kid, but shit, that was probably 1984.
Yeah.
So, when they weren't worth anything.
Mm-hmm.
So what toys did you grow up with? Because we're sitting here talking about toys.
Oh, He-Man. It was He-Man time. That was like all that there was. And I didn't get a ton of toys. I was not one of those kids whose parents just bought them toys willy-nilly. It was birthdays or Christmas. And that was basically it. And if we went to Child World or Toys R Us or whatever, because, I had the birthday party to go to, it was like, can I have them? No, you can't. You don't just get toys every day. Like, what do you want? Maybe put it on your Christmas list. That was, and that makes sense to me. And then I would go over these kids' houses and they would have like the castle from Voltron and like all the figures, you know what I mean? And they'd have like all of the Star Wars and the C-3PO and the Darth Vader carrying case and all of the whatever. I was not one of those kids, but I did have every single He-Man because I just didn't know, because we didn't go down to the toy store ever, so I didn't really know what was available. the only thing that I knew was that they were throwing He-Mans at me every day in commercials on television. That was like all I saw. So I got He-Man. I mean, they are cool. He-Man was definitely cool for a while, you know, and then I got over it. What else did they have? They had a really cool thing that I got, which was, I didn't even know about. I think I think my dad just like wanted it or something. Like the box art really appealed to him. And I can't remember what it was called, but it was like the figures were like this big, and it was like an airship, literally, because it had like a pump or something, and it would pump air, and I guess it could like shoot out all kinds of
aerators,
projectiles. Aerators, and then it had like a little like golf ball that would float on top and look like it was floating, but it was like air kind of spinning around on top of it. That was cool. I had the hologram. What were the hologram toys?
Visionaries.
That were like Visionaries, and the other ones. I had both
Supernaturals.
And Supernaturals was the one that I was really into because they were like more like He-Man size.
Yeah.
The holograms, they were really cool. That was basically it. And then like, you know, Tinker Toys and Lincoln Logs and stuff like that.
So I gotta ask you, who's your favorite Masters of the Universe
character?
Yeah.
I don't know. Probably Skeletor, I guess. He's a big skeleton.
Yeah.
He-Man! Who else? I liked I liked some of the She-Ra toys too, because they had the crossover.
Yeah.
The one Meklikar, no, what was his name? Manleklan. He had like the removable heads and body parts. Modulok. You could put him back together. Yep. I like the She-Ra version of Beast Man that had actual fur.
Grizzlor.
He was cool. Grizzlor was awesome. I had the Slime Pit. The Slime Pit was totally cool. I had the I thought King Hiss was really cool when he came out. I thought that was awesome. I don't know why. And now I think he's kind of boring. I had Snake Mountain with the microphone.
Yeah, I love echoes.
That. Yeah, I actually kept the microphone. I wish it still worked because it had a really cool decal on the speaker box.
Yep.
I still have that. What else? I had Grayskull. I had the Eternia playset. I wish I still had that. I had the whole Eternia playset. That was like the last He-Man Christmas. It was like the last big Christmas for me.
That was one near the end of the toy line too. So that was
and by then it was like both of my parents were working. Like my sister hadn't gone to college yet. It was like there was some money in the house, and like I got the Eternia playset, and I was like, rah! And I put it together. It was so much fun. Dad and I put it together, and we did the thing with the track and whatever. And I played with it for about 2 hours, and then it stayed in the basement. And I don't know that I ever did anything with it again. My friends came over. We played with it a few times. But it's like a lot of those toys, it was like, you know, I like to make up imagination games, you know? So I had some toys. And I think my dad threw all that crap away then later. I still yell at him.
Oh, my mom, when I was 14, we moved, and she made me sell off all my toys to go move with my stepdad. Yeah. And I looked at her and I was like, you know how much money that we got rid of for next to nothing? And she goes, well, you need to stop buying toys. I'm like, I'm buying my childhood back that you made me sell. And I've got a big chunk of it back, but there's certain figures I will never be able to get back because they're just too expensive. So
yeah.
And
that's all we do. That's all we do. We're grown up children buying back our childhoods.
Oh yeah. We have the ongoing joke that when if you would have told me when I was a little kid that now almost all the action figures are in scale to one another, I'd have been like, what? Your He-Man and your G.I. Joe and your you know, Star Wars and your Thundercats, they're all roughly the same size now. And I'd have been like, because, you know, you had He-Man who was, you know, this tall, then you had G.I. Joe that was this tall, and then you had Mask that was this tall, and now they're all the same scale. They're all 6 to 7 inches. And you know,
or they start making the really big ones, like when they started making the Star Wars and the G.I. Joe size or whatever. That was pretty cool too.
Yep. Always a sucker for that. Still a sucker for some of the real cool ass toys. So, but I gotta ask, the mask that's all right, let's see that. Okay, hold on. As I'm pointing, to down the white one with the white fur behind you. What? Yes, that one. What is that?
I think this is a Top Stone from the 1980s. It's vinyl.
Ah, okay, yes.
I bought this from one of my friends online because I think it's an excellent sculpt. I love the sculpt. I think it's a lot of fun. It's a simple mask. It's only got like 2 or 3 paint colors on there, and the rest is just the color of the vinyl.
See, I believe I have one growing up that looked almost exactly like that one, but it was green with the where its flesh tone was green. I think the hair was purple. But yeah, it's almost exactly like the one I had as a kid.
This is a little bit like some of the original Top Stone masks that they had from the 60s and the 50s too, and that it kind of emulates that style. This is definitely a resculpt. I don't know if this is a resculpt of one of those old ones, but it's like all of these masks just got, they got ripped off so many times and made in different countries and stuff.
Oh yeah.
But I love this one. Is a little bit too small for me to wear, but you can puppet him all right. I like that.
There you go. See, that's my problem. I have a big head.
Yeah, me too. I have an enormous head. In more ways than one. I have a really big head.
Now, do you remember as a kid? Because I don't know if this was just local for us, but every year at Halloween time, it probably stinks bad. Does it?
No, it smells fine. It smells nice. It smells like nostalgia.
Sounds like. But you would go to the mall, and there'd be like a kiosk in the middle with all the masks. Oh man.
No, I wish we had that.
Yeah, we had that in our little local mall every year, starting, mid-September. Guy would set up a kiosk in the middle of the mall, and you would have like your shelves behind you. You would have the masks in each one of them cubbies, and then the guy would go into the middle, and he would pull out the mask that you asked for. And I remember so many masks that I wanted as a kid, but my mom and like, no, those are too big for you. You're just. And then by the time I was older, they stopped doing it.
So, I don't know. Maybe we did have it around here, but I just never went to the mall at Halloween time.
See, I loved it
because we definitely had malls. Jesus, Paramus Mall, forget about it. The Willowbrook Mall in New Jersey. What we always had were like, I had like, it was like the old fashioned like dime store, drugstore kind of things, and that's where I would always see masks. Before everything was like a chain dollar store, or like Genevieve's. Do you remember Genevieve's was like kind of like a drugstore and like a general store thing? We had those on the East Coast. I just had a local, I guess it was like a mom and pop drugstore, and at Halloween they would bring out all the masks, and they had awesome masks. And like thinking back on them, they were like pretty high quality too for like the time. Like they were thick. They were kind of thick. They weren't floppy. They had like good polyester hair. They were like half masks like that with like the hair or a hood sewn in. You didn't see the biggest brands, but like of the knockoff brands, or like even like just the cheaper, like Top Stone masks or whatever. By the 80s, they were pretty good. Like they were made out of vinyl like that. Like they were substantial. Some kids would have, I remember every year I'd always see a Tor Johnson mask around Halloween, or the Be Something Studios were really big. They had like the shrunken head mask that was like a tiny little head and then just like tons of hair.
Yep.
He had enormous hair. I would see those all the time. The skull mask was the same, like that. They had, I can't remember his name. They had a mask that it was like, it had like purple and blue like muscles, but it was like a skull alien creature with like these teeth like this. I always forget the name. Not Fang Face, but it was something like that. But that was really big in the 80s, like circa 1985. And like I'd see that every year. I mean, if you had a mask like that and you were a kid, you wore it every year, for the next until you were done trick or treating, basically. I'm sure your parents were like, I just paid $60 or whatever it was for that mask.
They weren't cheap back then, man.
They weren't even cheap back then. No,
because it was it would. I remember going to like Woolworths and they had really nice ones there, and they were $45 in like 1987.
Yeah, dude.
So now that would be $300.
Yeah. My first expensive mask was the Distortion Studios Death mask. The character was called Death, and it was basically like it looked like kind of like one of the ghouls from Michael Jackson's Thriller, and it had hair. It was like green. It had exposed skull and no nose and like a mouth that was open like this, with hot glue drool pouring out of it, and had eyes because Distortions was all about having the sculpted eyes in the mask that were painted and glossed with epoxy, and I was like, wow, I want that thing so bad. And like you were saying about your grandpa, my grandpa took me to this Halloween, not a Halloween, it was a magic shop, which they don't have anymore either. It was called Ken's Magic Shop in Fairlawn, New Jersey, and it was so awesome. And they had their mask section was just like packed, and it was great, and they had all the good masks, and they had expensive masks, and I'd never seen like expensive high quality masks like that, and Death was one of them. And like I put that on my list, like that's what I wanted this year for like my big gift, and it was probably like $75 or $80 back then. Like it was a big gift. Like that was my main thing, and I got that when I was 10 from my parents. It was awesome. I told the dude who runs Distortion's masks when I met him, I was like, that was my first mask, and it was the coolest mask. And he's like, which one? I was like, Death. And he's like, oh yeah, Death with the gray hair and the beard and the thing. And I was like, yeah. He was like, yeah, that was a good seller or whatever.
I remember the first time I finally bought my first mask that I saved up for. And it was the Creep Show mask, full head, the one that you went and it velcroed in the back and it came down to about here.
It was Nate?
What?
Nate the corpse from Father's Day?
Yep. I had that one and I used it for several years because I even went as Jason. So I wore a hockey mask over the rotted corpse. And and to this day, I have no clue what ever happened to that mask.
That's a shame.
Those
are great masks. People go gaga for that mask, for that original Nate the Corpse mask.
And it's no clue. I had it when I lived with my stepdad, so it wasn't like it got sold. And the only thing I can think of is that when I moved out for the first time, when I moved out with my parents' house, somewhere from point A to point B, it got put in storage, or it got lost in a move or something. But I've never seen it again.
That happens. Yeah. And they, masks disintegrate.
Mm-hmm.
They just fall apart. They get sticky. They get weird. They crumble. Oh, yeah. And then somebody's like, "What is this piece of garbage?" And they throw it out.
I had a really good werewolf mask as a kid, and it just started ripping up the side, and once it started deteriorating and falling apart, it sucked. Because I had the full werewolf costume, had the custom made for me. So I had the hair, and then had the mask, and the hair went up inside the mask. So and I had the torn shirt, so that the hair, and there was tufts of hair coming out, and
awesome.
I had that, wore that for Halloween. I don't know how many years too. And I put the old aviator sunglasses one underneath the mask, so all you seen was the chromy eyes looking back at you through the mask. And best story though was when I wore that costume at friend's house. They were the last house on this road before you got to like a state park area, like not really, but so people would go back there and park, make out, whatever. And this is like a couple days after Halloween or stuff, and we'd had a party there, and I'm like, I had my full costume, and we saw the car drive by their house, and it just we're waiting for it. It never came back, and I was like, oh, we're messing with these people. So I'm in the full costume, and I come through the woods, pitch black, middle of the night, and the car's rocking, and the windows are all steamed up. I run up and I jump and I land on the trunk of the car and I slam up against the glass. The guy's on top of the girl. The girl looks at me, starts screaming. The guy has no clue what's going on.
He thinks he's doing a great job.
He's doing a great job.
Right.
And the girl starts pushing him off. And the guy turns around and there I am slammed up against the glass. And this dude goes over the seats because they're in the back seat. He goes over the seats, and I drop off and I take off running, like loping into the woods and shit. And you can see the guy like getting out of his car, like looking around. The girl's screaming for him to get back in the car. And me and my friends are sitting in the woods, just like trying not to laugh our asses off because we're all like, trying to hold it in because we didn't want to give ourselves away. Because they couldn't see us, but we could see them because of the light. It was so much fun. Just screwing with them people, God.
Halloween, baby.
Yeah. Oh man, we've been at this for a while. So before we keep going, do you got any upcoming events coming up, or do you do conventions or anything like that?
I do. Well, I'm starting to get back into doing conventions now, but not so much. I haven't done anything during COVID. It's just I'm not taking any chances. I have parents who can who are, if they got infected, it wouldn't be a good thing. And if I want to see them, I just don't go around people. So luckily I have a very insular job where all I have to do is like go to the post office or go to the supermarket or go to my local Smooth On to buy more latex. So that's basically what I've been doing for like 3 years now, because I masked up early because I'm not taking any chances with diseases. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
I was on lockdown before they made it mandatory. So, but like this year, I'm like, I've got my Omicron shot, and I'm gonna get out there a little bit more because I just feel like in order for the business to progress, I have to meet more people. Every time you meet a person, that's like a new possibility that something new can happen. Do you know what I mean?
Definitely, yeah.
Yeah, just to get my name out there more.
Yeah, because the more people that see your masks, the more the people see them in person. And if you're at a convention, you can actually kind of like take a look at it and see how good it actually looks, and because you can look on the internet and it looks really good, and then you see it.
Like, if you're used to people advertising and lying to you your whole life, you don't necessarily believe that it's that great. But yeah, my masks look good. If you see them up close, you're gonna know that it looks exactly the same in real life as it does in the videos that I make. Except for like whatever the special effects or whatever. But all I do to my masks is cut them out. Put them on a green screen and cut them out. I'm not doing any kind of photoshopping on them or color enhancement, other than to make it reflect what it actually looks like in person. Because sometimes the iPhones are a little weird and they'll like change the color if like the lighting is off or whatever. And these are very vivid colors that I'm working with. Yeah, and sometimes black light colors and stuff like that. So I will like tweak stuff to make it look actually how it does if the camera like messes it all up and makes it look weird.
Well, I hate to say this, but that Star Killer mask, I didn't think that was a real mask at first when you posted it. I thought that was like,
I love it.
And I was like, that can't be a real mask, and I was like, man, it's gotta be like a sculpt, like you not a mask, but like a maquette, or what do you want to call it? That's
right. No, it's a big mask. Like there's room for a head inside of it. But like that's one of the things that I like to do is I've always since I first started, like I go hard into the cavities and things. To me, that's what makes a mask like more realistic and cool, especially a skull mask, is if it really goes back super far. So like there's a little bit of like illusion that's going on. It's kind of not a Trompe-l'oeil thing, but like there's it's not 100% anatomical or whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just build the face out that much further so that I can go that much deeper back.
Yeah. Because, like I said, man, I'm sitting there looking at that picture. I'm like, and you listen. I'm like, it's a mask. I'm like, that that's amazing. That's
It's a big old mask.
is it, now. Is it just long in the front, or is it just all around big?
I mean, it's big all over. I make them big so that they'll
So
stand
everybody
up
can
to
fit. Yeah.
recasting over the years. If I'm lucky enough to have these designs go on for 50 years, because every time you recast a mask or make a new master and then make a mask, because latex shrinks, they get smaller over the generations. So a lot of times, like, in the 90s, if you bought a Don Post mask that originally came out in the 60s, whereas it started out as this big mask, like now it's like this and it's barely wearable, if wearable at all, So you start out really, really big in hopes that, 50 years from now it'll still be wearable or whatever.
Yeah.
And I kind of like a big mask on a rattling around on top of someone's body, like around a little kid. They look hilarious with these huge bobblehead masks. Yeah. The kids were asking me, some of my friends' kids were like, why is it so big? I'm like, because it's dope, because that's awesome, because it makes it cool. But yeah, it's because, that's why. Does it stick out in the front? Yeah, I mean, but it does. The whole thing is you have to, make it
the hood
proportionate in a way. Yeah,
it's got to be.
So that you don't really notice, like, even if you look at like makeup in movies sometimes from the side, from the profile, like if you really look at it critically with an anatomical eye, like you'll realize that it's sticking out way too far.
Yeah.
But, from the front or from 3/4, you don't see that at all.
Yeah. But yeah, like I said, it's an amazing piece. Your stuff's great.
Thank you so much.
It's retro and current all at once.
There's a guy who's a tattooer who I just met online, and he had a great term for that. And I can't remember what it is, but he was talking about the style of tattoos that he does, where it's like harkening back to a retro feel, but it's not pastiche. It's still modern. It was like neo retro. I don't know. It was something like that. But yeah, that's basically what I am. I want to be like that old school feeling that you used to have, but done in a modern way.
Oh yeah.
That's, using all the techniques and the knowledge accumulated now to make things cool and realistic or ultra fabulous, whatever, that kind of thing, high quality.
Oh yeah, because your setup behind you. That's why I had to ask you if you grew up with those kiosks, because that's what that reminds me of.
I would love to have one of those kiosks to take to horror conventions. That would be optimal. If I could just drive it like this, like the mask mobile, and then like
you flip the sides
and you pull
up,
a button and all the sides flap down, and it's just full of masks, and like, yeah.
How when you do conventions, man, how big is your display? I mean, you got to have a small.
That's it. Yeah, it's just like a table with all the masks. I just have a stand, mask at this height, and this height, like basically 3 rows, like that. No, I want to get, because I don't have a truck or anything, and I don't want to carry around those weird, like, what are they called? Those product, like, display cage things or whatever. I mean, I could if I got it, I guess, but then I'd have to get a truck or an event, whatever. When the business expands, then everything that comes with it. But right now, I'm doing it out of my hand.
Now, do you ever get to because you said you haven't done any, do you ever get the Horror Hound or anything?
Yes,
in Ohio.
I do Horror Hound. Well, the first convention that I ever did, Mask Fest, was a part of the Horror Hound convention. Not the one in Cincinnati. It was the one in Indianapolis, and I'm hoping that this year they'll do it again around August time, because they took a few years off because of COVID and whatever. And then Horror Hound started up again, and I didn't do it because it's not really the right format. Like people are there for like the stars, you know what I mean, and to buy like merch or whatever, not necessarily to get masks. But like if you're in a place where you know people are going because they know that the masks are there, that's kind of a different story than just Horror Hound, which is like everything. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I'm hoping that Mask Fest gets it back together. I want to do like whatever the Monster Palooza, all that baloney. The trans world is a big deal thing that I need to start doing. All of those kinds of shows just to get myself out there. And so because I know that there's like masked dudes who don't look at Facebook or Instagram. You know what I mean? They're busy doing whatever they're doing. They're mask blup, so they have no idea who I am.
Yeah, but hey, I'm hoping this helps you out and get you out there a little bit better. And
It's very nice of you to ask me on the show. Thank you very much.
Yeah. I mean, this has been a blast. I was like, I didn't even realize how long we've been talking until I happened to look down the corner of the computer here, and I was like, holy shit.
I have no idea what time it is. I'm stuck in the mask room. I'm hoping I didn't lock myself in here because like when midnight strikes, all these guys, I'm pretty sure, come to life. Then I'll be in trouble.
Oh man. I like I said, you do great work. Your stuff's so good, and like I said, it's so good that I didn't believe it was real. If that,
that's a ringing endorsement.
Yeah, I mean,
I love that. I'm gonna put that on my merch from now on.
So good.
Paul Lee says,
I didn't.
So good. I didn't believe it was real.
Yep. So see now, years down the road, my character from my show will get popular enough that one day you'll make a mask out of what that character will look like.
Hell yeah. I'll do old you.
Do grumpy ass old me with just all gray hair, bald. Because it's already
It'll be called ancient horror host.
Ancient old ass horror host.
Old ass horror host.
Oh man, but that's fun. That is good. And like I said, I appreciate you coming on. Do you want to give us your information here at the end, like where we can find you and where you're going to be and what you got coming up?
Sure. You can always find me, Mikey Sevier, on Facebook. That's Mikey, Sevier is how you spell it. Same thing on Instagram. And if you search me, my name on Google or on YouTube, everything will come up. So if you go to YouTube and search Mikey Sevier, my spook show will come up. You can watch all my horror hosting movies. You can watch, I have a couple different shows on there. One where I do spooky stories. Another one where I teach you how to make masks. I've got 2 or 3 episodes of that. And a bunch of other things, just like you can watch me painting masks really fast in time lapse or sculpting in time lapse, all that stuff. And my Instagram, Mikey Sevier on Instagram, is like, you know, I post something every day pretty much. So there's always stuff happening. It's a lot of fun.
Cool. And I'm gonna have to have you on again.
And don't forget, if you want to buy a mask, go to www.spookshowmonstermasks.com. Spook Show is the name of my monster mask company. Spookshowmonstermasks.com.
So good you won't believe they're real.
So good you won't believe they're real. That's going in all my promo stuff.
There you go.
From now on. And it's going in the press. Yeah.
We're gonna have to have you back on again because I didn't even get to talk to you about your horror hosting stuff.
I love it. Well, you know, we shot the shit for a long time, so good for us. We did a good job.
And it's just a conversation, and I like it because people ask me, they're like, you know, what do you do? I was like, dude, these are people that interest me, so I just talk to them. I was like,
yeah, well, I appreciate what you do. I love that you interview a lot of horror hosts and you get it out there that there's so many of us working on keeping the art form alive.
Well,
because it's a very strange, bizarre little art form.
And the nice part about it is that I've found this out. There's a little bit, but for the most part, you know, everybody's so like inviting. They just bring you right in, and once you know, I didn't think I would be you know, I got invited to Horror Hound last year for the Horror Host Hall of Fame, or this year, and I was like, oh, dude, I host cartoons and stuff like that, and they're like, no, you're now on the Monster Channel and stuff like that. He's like, come to the thing, and I'm like, okay, and then they're like, take the big picture, and I'm just standing there, and they're like, you need to get up there, and I'm like, no, why would I get up there? And they're like, no, you're part of this now. This is you. So, really, dog? That's what happens when the owner lets you in. So, really? Go. What are you doing? All right. She's. I think she's not gonna let me do anything now. But yeah, we'll get you back on again. We'll talk about horror hosting and talk about movies and whatnot, and have another 2.5 hour conversation. So,
awesome.
Yep.
Awesome, Paulie. It's been grand. Thank you so much for having me on.
Yep. So, all right. Take care, sir, and I will talk to you later, man.
All right. Peace out. So long.
Yep. See ya.